All right. Well, we are back with another episode of the Academy Urban Sports Perspectives. I am Spicy. Let me change my name, but it doesn't matter. But yes, no, I am Spicy, and before we get into everything, we have D Money, Ultimate, and Grapefruit. How are y'all doing this week?
As a Bears fan, I've been better.
All good.
Yeah, it's I'm all right. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say,
Oh, here it comes.
I'm gonna say this for
Here it
later,
comes. Here
but
it comes.
before we get into anything, I'm not gonna say what y'all think I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna say I'm wearing this because I needed a hat because my hair, but I'm not a Cowboys fan. All right, I just wanted to make that disclaimer.
Clear.
Yeah,
I just want
clear.
to make that's clear. Okay, but let's get into y'all's team. Let's talk about the Bears. Um, you know, who wants to go first? What y'all think of the game?
I'm gonna defer to either Money or Fruit because full disclosure, I did not watch the game because I was traveling. So I was able to pick up a little bit of it on the radio, but I only got like half the game. This is the true story. So I'm listening to the game. I picked it up on ESPN Radio 1000 app. I don't know if you ever listened to that, Fruit. It's the app.
Yeah, yeah. No. I
I
listened
thought,
to the score, so
right. So I thought, no, as far as the Bears game stuff.
uh-huh.
So I thought it was going to be blocked out because I was out of state, but I was able to pick it up actually into the third quarter. And then without announcement, it switches to the White Sox game. So I thought that was like, out of any game they could switch to, it was just automatic. It wasn't like we're about to switch to the White Sox. It was like, bam.
From bad to worse. Wow, that's
Yeah,
ugly.
yes.
So
That's an
anyways,
ugly transition.
since I didn't like physically see the plays, I heard some of them. I'm going to defer to you two to give us a play-by-play, and then I'll chime in as necessary.
Well, I'm just going to say you're fortunate that you did not see the game, to be perfectly honest with you. And you probably heard all you needed to hear. It's just the same old story, different game, but the same old story. Offensive line atrocious, running game anemic, and coaching atrocious. So again, it's the same old story. Defense, I mean, defense still played well, but they didn't play great. They made some mistakes, gave up some big running plays. But here's the thing, really, the way I see this. Caleb Williams, he's okay. I'm not, he's going to learn, he's going to get better. Honestly, he passes the eye test for me. I mean, he looks like an NFL quarterback. The timing on his deep throws is going to get better, right? He's running for his life a lot, so he's just got to learn to settle down a little bit, but it's hard to do that when you got these big 300-pounders chasing you. So, but here's the thing to me. You played a team in the Indianapolis Colts that was one of the worst teams against the rush. They had one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. So for me, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm going into this game with a pretty solid game plan. We're going to run the ball down their throats because they haven't proven that they can stop it. And yet we only get 62, 63 yards of rushing the whole game. And not only that, but you let your rookie quarterback throw the ball 52 times. How can we let this happen? Clearly, this should be at least a balanced passing rushing, right? You should 50-50, but going into the game, it should have been predominantly. We're just going to run it. We're going to establish the run, and maybe you're going to do 20 to 30 passes. That's what my thought process would have been. If you look at the stat line, ultimate, we beat the Indianapolis Colts in a lot of the stats, most of the stats, except for rushing, right? And even time of possession, we had the ball longer than they did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just amazing to me how ill prepared and how bad this offense looks. And there's really no excuse for it. I just don't know what the problem is. I know the offensive coordinator is not a bad offensive coordinator because we saw what he was able to do in Seattle, right? For a quarterback whose career was almost over. He helped resurrect that guy, and then they had a great offense. So I know it's not him, and he's getting used to these players. So I'm throwing it all to the head coach. This guy, I don't want to say he's an idiot, but when it comes to offense, he has no clue. He burned the time out because they couldn't even figure out if they wanted to go for one extra point or to go for 2 points after they scored a touchdown. So they had to burn a timeout that they needed at the end of the game. I'm putting that all on the head coach. So we had a chance to upgrade this coach to go after somebody who would have been a better fit for your franchise generational quarterback. And yet you stuck with the guy that showed you last year he couldn't develop a quarterback who'd already been in the league for 2 years. So it's a little frustrating, and I'm worried. And I'm worried because I said they would win 10 games. That was one of the games I thought that they would win. That was not a good team. I'm being honest with you. Their quarterback was not good. He gave the ball away a couple of times. They had a couple of good run plays, but that was not a good team. That was a team you should have beat. And some of the other teams I thought they would beat on the schedule are starting to look actually pretty good, like Arizona. So, and there's a couple other teams. And now you got a Rams team coming in that just beat San Francisco. And you're playing a coach that's much better than the head coach that we have, immensely better. So I'm starting to get worried on that number 10 wins. I'm not going to pull back from it, but it's not looking good. And the team in the division that I thought would probably be weaker than people thought, the Vikings, are better than we thought. Are they undefeated right now?
Yeah.
Undefeated.
Yeah, which
So,
which is
yeah,
which is where I
Spicy.
thought Spicy was going with
Yeah,
Oh,
that.
no, I'm
yeah,
saving
exactly.
that for later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So-
I hate the condensation. Go ahead.
No, but still, so that's we don't even look like we can beat them. And again, it's a quarterback that people thought career was over. He gets in the right system with the right coaches, and he's looking like a stud. So, and we'll probably talk about it a little later, but the JF2 is looking pretty good out in Pittsburgh. He's not running for his life. He's under immensely better head coach. And that looks like a well-oiled machine with him in it. So we have a problem with our coaching system here, and it's going to be costly because you don't even want to fire this guy because you need to give some stability to your quarterback. You don't want him having to go through different coaching systems after his rookie year. So we're in a bad situation that if this is not the guy as far as the head coach, you might be stuck with him, or you may feel like you got to stick with him so that you don't ruin your franchise quarterback. So it's only the third game of the season, but I am starting to get a little bit worried.
Well, okay. I'm not going to necessarily sound the alarm that Deep Money just sounded. But what did we all say when they decided to retain this dude? I wanted Jim Harbaugh. That's who I wanted as the head coach. Offensive minded coach, has the Chargers at 2-1, although a lot of their starters are now hurt. But this guy, they stuck with this guy because he knows how to call a defense. Now, he still knows how to call a good defense, but clearly, and we said this before this season started, he's still the fourth best coach in the division, right? The three other coaches are, I'm going to say it, far superior to what he is. Even Dan Campbell, who will bite off a kneecap and do all this other stuff, but he's a far better coach than this guy. And what they're doing with Malik Willis in Green Bay ought to tell you something. I mean, it is about the coaching. That guy couldn't throw it in a pull if he was right on the side of it in Tennessee. And yet now, and kudos to him for getting his ex team back and beating them like a drum, because Will Levis is awful. It's just awful. And so is Anthony Richardson, apparently, because look, he already had a percentage of under 50% as far as completing his passes, but that dude didn't show us anything on Sunday. He looked pedestrian at best. So I don't know what's happening with that. So yeah, this should have been a game that they won. I wasn't going 10 wins. I just didn't see it. Still don't see it. Hell, I might not even see 9 now, but I digress. So as far as the game goes itself, yeah, the Bears had 7 possessions where they were inside the Colts territory. So the offense did make some strides, but man, that play on the 1-yard line when it was 4th and 1, if you would Google the picture, all of the offensive linemen were on their ass when he had the ball, and it was nothing but Colt linebackers and defensive linemen after that guy. It was one of the worst play calls for that position in the field that you've ever. It is as bad as what a former Seattle Seahawk play call in the Super Bowl when they threw it on the 1-yard line and got intercepted by New England. That's as bad as I've seen an offensive play call. Caleb Williams threw for the most yards as for any Bear rookie quarterback has ever thrown for. Great. He's every week, which is also good. But I don't saw the number 2 draft pick last night, which we will discuss later in this show, looked really, really good. I mean, really, really good. So I do think he is still a generational talent. Question is, are they going to be able to get out of there? Are they going to Bears this thing up? And I hope to God that they don't Bears this thing up.
They will.
Yeah, so what I gotta say is I'm just like Money. I'm worried too, not for any like long-term prospect, but definitely for this season. It doesn't look like it's going to turn out to be a 10-win season if they continue to play like they are now. But I think you guys are kind of misfocusing some of the blame. I agree that Eberflus is probably an idiot. He's definitely a good to great defensive coordinator, but his head coaching skills are very, very, very limited. That's just part of the problem. Part of the problem is Ryan Poles for not, solidifying the offensive line. Part of the problem is just having the rookie quarterback ups and downs. Caleb is just as responsible for the loss as anyone else with the turnovers he had late in the game. The offensive line couldn't get any push to punching in for the 3 attempts they had before the option play. They couldn't even get it, 2 yards. That's a problem. So I guess there's plenty of blame to go around from the general manager to the players actually on the field trying to execute. Eberflus may be number 1, and I think if the season continues the way it is, I think his job will be in jeopardy. I don't think they're going to hold on to him, like you mentioned, Money, just to have some stability for the quarterback. I think they rather kind of cut that out as soon as they can and get somebody new to start that new process if they determine he's the problem. But I don't know. I think it's going to be, like we mentioned a couple of shows ago, it's going to be an up and down season. Actually, this was a down I wasn't necessarily expecting, but I think they have the opportunity to turn it around with a home game this coming Sunday with a team that is coming in a bit injured, even though I know they beat San Francisco, who was also injured. So they got opportunities this week. I thought Caleb, other than obviously the turnovers, I thought he looked pretty good as far as commanding the offense for what he had to work with. So I'm still optimistic about him. I'm just not optimistic about the team right now, and definitely the coaching staff and the O-line.
Yeah, I think it's ironic you mentioned Ryan Poles being a part of the problem, and I agree. But what's ironic is he played offensive line in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken, and yet that's the weakest part of the team. Your assessment of that offensive line is the worst part of the team. I mean, you would think that he would know offensive line talent better than anybody. You used to play the position, and that's the weakest part of the team. So that I don't understand. So, but
Well,
how do you fix, how do you fix an offensive line? I mean, what do you do to make these guys play better? They're just almost like they're not. I don't. Somebody help me. What are
okay,
your ideas?
okay. All right, D Money. All right. Come down off the ledge. Come down off the ledge, Chief. But wait a minute. But I will say this though. One, Ryan Poles didn't play in the NFL because he wasn't good enough. So that's one. So yeah, he knows offensive line, but he wasn't a good one. So the question is, does he know a good offensive line when he sees it? That's two. Three, how can you coordinate the offense better? So this is where the offensive coordinator is going to have to make some magic, and they're going to have to scheme up some plays that gives the offensive line a better shot of doing with what the talent that they have. So that means you're going to have to get stuff out a little quicker. You're going to have to hit some runs, some trap plays, some whatever. This is where the offensive coordinator has to come into play now to basically put deodorant over feces for the most part. So, but when offensive coordinators, good offensive coordinators can scheme up even when they have bad offensive lines. So the question is this guy good enough to do that?
Right.
We
We don't know
shall
if he's good or
see.
not. Yeah, we don't know if he's good. We don't know if he's good or not because, like you were 100% right because we were saying the same thing last year with Gesky and Fields. Oh, call the plays that fit Fields instead of the plays you want to call. That's the same thing with this offensive coordinator. He's calling the plays that fit his system that he wants to run, and not necessarily the ones that are fitting the personnel right now, not fitting what the strengths are of the offensive line or the weaknesses, and trying to cover that up. I think he just wants to call certain plays. He wants to call options on the 1 yard line, knowing he doesn't have the personnel to pull those plays off. So I think I don't think Getsy was as bad as we were made him out to be last year, and I don't know if Shane Waldron is as good as we were making him out when he first got here. He's got to prove himself.
Okay, so first and foremost, Getsy is as bad as he was because the people in Las Vegas now are saying that get this offensive coordinator out of here. So yeah, he's still bad, and now the Raiders, unfortunately, they know this now. They lost to Carolina.
The Red had Barron in the game, though.
Yeah, but still,
he tore that defense up, though, man. I'm not going to blame Getsy for that.
Well, but they didn't score any points either, though. So yeah, so still they're talking in Las Vegas just like we were talking about him last year. Like, dude, this guy's not good, and we tried to tell you. We tried to tell him, that, what are you doing? So anyway, so yeah, that's the offense needs to be coordinated better because I mean, week 1 it was not coordinated. Week 2, it was better coordinated, but it still wasn't coordinated. Week 3, still more signs shown, but yeah, a rookie quarterback is not, I repeat, not supposed to throw 52 passes in a game. That is just not supposed to happen. If your offense is coordinated properly. So
they got behind though, right?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't that far behind. But they can't run the ball, so that's the thing. If you can't run the ball, that. Why you wouldn't go ahead and just pass it on 4th and 1 if you couldn't get it in, knock it in 3 running plays? That play still mystifies the bleep out of me. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But yeah, the offense has to be coordinated better, and that's the only way they're going to get out of this, unless these guys all of a sudden magically start to block people. So, and I don't see that happen again on that play. All 4 offensive linemen were on the ground. They couldn't block because they were already on the ground as the play started. That's crazy to me. So, you know, uh, that's what the offensive coordinator's got a job. He's got a job because, and if he can't get this thing coordinated, I I think we're looking at 5-12, 6-11, honestly.
And we're looking at a new staff. If they go 5-12, 6-11, Eberflus will not be here next year, which means Waldron's going to be gone also.
Oh, but the good news is if JF2 still plays in Pittsburgh, that sixth becomes a fourth. And so everyone in Chicago should be rooting for Dude to go ahead and start the rest of the season. Look, I'm just going to go on the JF2 thing right now. A lot of people, if you're on Facebook, you see a lot of people with the Justin Fields stuff all over the place. They Steelers 3-0. Listen, Steelers defense is awesome. You think the Bears defense is good? That defense has been shutting people down. Shut the Chargers down. Injured their quarterback. Get him off the field. Shut him. TJ Watt is a stud. Shut him down. So now this past week, Justin Fields did actually play a good game. But the first 2 weeks, he wasn't setting the world on fire. They did just enough to win. And hell, the second week, they didn't even score any touchdowns. So
I've got a question for you. I know you know this. How many 300-yard passing games does Fields have in his career?
2. And that's only one more than Caleb Williams. And
Okay.
Caleb Williams has only played 3 games.
That's my case. That's all.
So yeah, and I had to, and I explained that on Facebook too. I was like, look, dude, it took Justin Fields 2 years to throw a 300-yard game. 2 years, right? Now look, he didn't start every game as a rookie, obviously, but I mean, still, it did take him some time. But this dude did it in 3 weeks. The 2 interceptions, yeah, and he was the first of the rookie quarterbacks to actually throw a touchdown this season, which is that's kind of crazy that it got to week 3. But there was two other rookie quarterbacks had good weekends this weekend, unlike the first 2 weeks.
It's a process. So
yeah, it is.
With the JF2 thing, I think this is just going to work out good for both teams, honestly, equally, because he's playing and he probably, until they lose, and I mean, he's week to week on starting, but they're going to ride the hot hand because they're winning with him and he's not making any mistakes. But like you said, if he plays 51% of the games, we get a 4th-round pick. So then it's a win for the Bears, getting a 4th-round pick for a quarterback that you didn't feel you needed. But I think it's a big win for the Steelers, only because you got a weapon that works well within the offense that you want to run. They're a run-first team. You got a quarterback who runs, and he's managing the offense exactly the way they want him to. So, but it's a bigger win for Justin Fields, to be honest, because he is with an immensely better coach. He's with a father figure type of guy who is going to give him exactly what he needs to hear, the truth. But at the end of the day, he knows that this coach also is rooting for him and wants him to do well. I think they would like nothing better to sign him to a deal and have him as the quarterback for their future. But he knows that Mike Tomlin is only going to suggest that if he is producing. He's a fair guy. He will tell you honestly what he expects from you, but I think he's going to flourish underneath that system. And he has a really good offensive coordinator. And now, the offensive coordinator opened up the game for Justin this past weekend.
Yep, he did.
First week, Justin didn't throw any passes over the middle. He didn't want them to. Stay off the middle, hit them on the sides. We're going to run it down their throats. Second week, he played pretty good. He had about 150 yards of catches brought back because of penalties. It was either pass interference or holding on the offensive line. But he threw some really good passes that unfortunately had to come back. And then this last week, he just had a solid game. He threw touchdown last week, and then he threw one this past week. So he's got 2 touchdown passes. So he's just really just doing what they ask of him. But if you watch him play, he's not running for his life. He's not running a lot. He's really, and guess where most of his passes are coming from the pocket, my friend. He's not really running outside the pocket. It's clean. We're seeing what it's like when the quarterback actually has decent protection. You give pretty much any quarterback decent protection, as long as they can throw the rock, they're going to do pretty good. So I think it was a good deal. I do think Caleb is a better talent without a doubt. I mean, he's just having rookie struggles. But when I watch him play and throw the ball, it looks different coming out of his hand. It looks crisp. He's got a quick release. That thing looks like it's being like come out of like a slingshot. He's got a good release. He's going to be a great talent. I'm just hoping Caleb keeps the right mindset and doesn't let frustration sink in too much. He's human and he's young, and getting beat up like that, I don't care who you are, that can start to get into your soul a little bit. And so I'm just hoping that they prepared him for what it was like to play here and not do well, because it's hot. It's a hot seat, and emotionally, I just hope he has the right mindset and he can handle it. So that's other than that, I think he's going to be a fantastic talent. I do like the move that we made for him. Even though I'm a JF2 guy, I think we did upgrade the quarterback.
Like I said, the JF2 conversation to me, outside of his 50% playing time to get the draft pick from 6 to 4, is like talking about an ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend. It don't matter. They're in the past. There's really no reason to mention them in this context, unless you want to try to bring them back, which isn't going to happen. And like Money said, I agree that maybe at this point in time right now, Fields may be a better quarterback than Caleb Williams. But Caleb Williams is obviously a better quarterback than Fields was in his third game. And I think Williams' ceiling is a hell of a lot higher than what Justin Fields' ceiling is. And I hate to have to even hate on Justin Fields. I think he's a good guy, good quarterback. I just don't think he's a generational quarterback. I don't think he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And I'm not sure if he's going to lead the Steelers to the Super Bowl at any point, even though I think he's a good guy, good quarterback. So don't want to have to hate on him, but it is what it is. I think the Bears have the right quarterback in place if you're choosing between those two. And obviously this move was good for Justin Fields, because if they didn't move him, he'll be sitting behind Caleb Williams on the bench, not playing at all. And if you look at you all guys already mentioned, look at Fields' numbers through the first 3 weeks, they're pedestrian. He's just done what he needs to do to win. He's averaging 170 yards a game passing. He has two TDs, same as Williams. He just limited his turnovers, which Williams hasn't been able to do, and that's not untypical for a rookie. So for all the people clamoring to have Justin Fields, are clamoring to want to keep that conversation going, it's a waste of time because he's not coming back. The Bears have a quarterback who they intend to keep in place for a very long time unless something goes horribly wrong. So I think it's fun conversation for some people, but it's really not productive to the point where it really doesn't even matter, other than I do want him to play 50% of the snaps so the Bears can get a better draft pick. And then at the end of the season, we'll see. We'll see the Steelers, like Fruit mentioned, Steelers got this dominating defense, which every once in a while you can win with a dominating defense and you have a very average offense. These days, it doesn't happen often. I don't know when the last time it's happened. You've got to have that dynamic offense these days to win when it matters, win in the playoffs, to go deep in the playoffs and to have sustainable success. These days, you have to have that dynamic offense. So we'll see how far they go with just saying, hey, we're going to rely on our defense and just keep the offense from turning the ball over and manage the game. We'll see how far that goes. And I'm predicting it probably won't go too far at all. When the big players start to play ball, like the Josh Allens and the Mahomes and some of the other quarterbacks who can step it up when necessary.
Oh, so they're stepping it up. They're balling.
Yeah, they are balling. But ultimate, I think I know where a lot of your angst comes from. It's because it just seems like Justin is getting way too much love right now for not much to love, if that makes sense.
Yes. You hit it right on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, look, and because listen, I see it on my Sunday about 4 o'clock. It was just nothing but Justin Fields 3-0. Justin Fields this, Justin Fields that, and it's like,
Yeah.
can y'all calm down? I mean, look, yeah, Justin. Listen, we all knew Justin Fields was not the problem. He just wasn't the solution. That's all. Period.
Yeah.
So
Great statement.
so right. So it was the same thing. Is just now we have different people just not coordinating stuff the way it needs to be coordinated. So and until we can get over this hump, you know, the Bears did almost everything right except the two main things: your coach and your offensive line, right? Because it looks like the defensive line actually is going to turn out to be pretty good, pretty solid. But this offensive line right now, man, this is a problem. And again, the only way it can be fixed at this point, unless they consummate a trade for someone really quick, they're going to have to coordinate it better for the offense to work. And I'm not sure that this guy has the ability to do that, because that's a monumental task when you can't give your quarterback time to throw the ball. Period.
And they can't run block. It's hard to be bad at run blocking and pass blocking. That's why I think it has to be something else. Like they can't run the ball and they can't get the quarterback time. It has to be something with the scheme, the coaching, the coordinator. It's got to be. They can't be that bad on both sides of the running, blocking, and pass block.
It's kind of all of the above. Ultimate. I think it's everybody is at fault, all aspects, and that's why it's not working. Because as bad as they looked, they only lost by 5 points on Sunday. Well, how many points did they lose by against Houston? That was a close game.
Six.
Score. Yeah,
so
one score.
As bad as they're looking on offense, they had a chance to win both games, right? So that's kind of the silver lining in the cloud, that as bad as they look, they're still in the games. And all they have to do is just kind of tighten some things up, and they can probably still pull out some wins because the defense is just that good. So it's just, if you can figure out a way to establish the run game, to me, it's just that simple. Figure out a way to establish the run game, just so keep the defense honest, so that it's not so one-sided. Again, you threw 52 passes in the last game. I mean, come on, anybody can scheme a defense on that, especially when the quarterback's not sharp on everything. So get this running game going. Listen, you're not going to play many more teams that's like the Colts with that run defense they have. So you got to figure out a way to establish the run. You just need get 100, little over 100 yards, balance it out, just so Caleb's not getting killed. And then I think they'll be okay. They should be able to. They're not going to blow anybody out, at least not at this point. But at least the games are close. They had a chance in every game, so it's not as bad as maybe I think. I'm trying to talk myself into some positivity here.
I see.
So, yeah, but so we'll see what happens. Just tighten a few screws, and maybe this thing gets better.
They'll be better. They'll be better at home. And I think they need to run more under center of it, as opposed to a little shotgun or pistol. I think that'll help the running game out, and that'll help the play action.
Yeah, I think that is probably a key there. I think we are seeing way too much shotgun, but I think we're saying a lot of shotgun because they just don't have the confidence that they can run it. And can you recall the last time the Bears couldn't run the ball? I mean, of anything, we know countless times where they couldn't pass it, but they can't run it. And this is something that is very uncommon for this organization. They've always been able to at least run the ball. May not pass it worth a damn, but they could run it. And the fact that they cannot run it speaks kind of volumes to where the general manager made a really bad miscalculation.
We will see.
Yep.
You know, I'm gonna keep you all Bears fans in my thoughts and prayers. Because I don't have this issue, but
You mean with the Cowboys?
No, the
No.
Vikings.
Vikings.
Oh, well, she's
Bears,
wearing a Cowboys hat, so I'm just
the
I
saying.
Bears are the
know.
worst team in the division. We'll give you that. They are the worst team in the division.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
And
I'll
Minnesota
be,
is looking like the best.
they
I
are.
mean, listen, they beat the brakes off of Houston, which, I mean, they scored 34 points against Houston. So you can score on that defense, and they only allowed 7 points. So they absolutely, I mean, CJ Stroud threw interceptions in that game, as a matter of fact, which that doesn't happen. But they look good. That defense looks good. I
They
mean,
dialed it up, man. That defense dials it up, man.
and
Their
their
coordinator
coach
on defense, Brian
Flores.
Flores, yes,
Lawrence.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
one of the best defensive coordinators out there. He
yeah.
he dials it up. So yeah, they're looking tough to beat, honestly.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll be thinking of y'all. So,
Uh-huh.
but I think we spent enough time on the Bears, you
I
know.
agree. It's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
We'll
Let's
see
talk
how
about the White Sox.
Let's
let's
not.
not. Let's turn this conversation around. But we'll see how the Bears do on Sunday. They play the Rams, so we'll see. But let's move on to our segments, and let's start with Ultimate. What you got for
So
us?
I would be a fool and an idiot if I did not mention the performance of Shohei Ohtani in terms of his. It could be he could have won on two fronts, actually. He could have won for 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases in the season, or he could have won just based on the game in which he,
Yeah.
got over the mark for each category.
Yep.
But that's been talked about so much, I decided not to give Shohei Ohtani. Now he wins the Ultimate Performance Award, but I have to give it to a runner-up also.
Okay.
Because everybody's talking about that, and that's kind of like a given. And I got to thinking to myself, I know this year that the Major League Baseball started accepting, is it this year or last year, started accepting some of the Negro League stats, their system. And I find it hard to believe that some brother at some point didn't hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases. It had to happen. The records must have got purged or something. Something happened. But I think it's been done before. We just don't know about it. It must have been one of those conspiracy things to keep the brothers out the record books. So that's another reason why he's not winning this week. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned I wouldn't be surprised if Caleb Williams did something to win the Ultimate Performance every week. You know, he threw for 300 yards. He threw for his first touchdown. But he couldn't win it because he turned the ball over too much, and that's kind of was one of the main reasons the Bears ended up losing the game. But to stick with football, to stick with the Bears, and to stick with a rookie, this week's performance goes to Rome Odunze. Caught his first touchdown. He was over 100 yards receiving. He's looking like he can be the real deal if the Bears use him properly. So Shohei Ohtani kind of wins it because of what he did, but because it's baseball and because I think a Negro League player probably did it before, we just don't know about it, the run-up is going to go to Rome Odunze. Ultimate Performance of the week, and I think he's got some big games coming up. Hopefully Keelan Allen will show up at some point this season, but I think Rome is going to be establishing himself as being at least maybe the number 2 receiver, especially if they keep DJ Moore with those short, quick hitches. I mean, it's like the same pass to DJ Moore like every play. Behind the line of scrimmage, letting him just make some moves, trying to get some yards. They got to get him downfield a little bit more often. But anyway, Rome Odunze, Ultimate Performance of the week.
Kent, but before you go D Money, let me just, since I'm Mr. Stats guy, I have to give the stats. So to Shohei Ohtani, the day that he broke the record, 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, a single, 17 total bases, 2 stolen bases, 10 RBIs. It's the first stat line in Major League history to have that. That is the first person in Major League history to have that stat line of 6, 4, 6, and 10. 4 runs scored. Also, to put it in further context, one of his doubles, he was thrown out at third, which meant he was a triple short of the cycle. That's crazy. And right now, he's kept hitting. He has now 53 home runs and 55 stolen bases. Unbelievable. That's one. For Rome Odunze, he is only the fourth Bears wide receiver since 1983, the fourth rookie to ever have 100 yards receiving in a game since 1983.
Who was it? Willie Galt? Who was the receiver?
Willie Galt was the receiver in 1983 that had 100 yards in a game. That is correct.
Wow.
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 But like I said, because Shohei could have won on either just the yearly mark with the 50-50 or just that game by itself was, astonishing. So
yeah, that's one of the greatest games in baseball history.
Yeah, for sure.
Performances, at least, for sure. And Rome is playing a little injured too, so kudos to him for that. He's powering through an injury. So yeah, good pick, my friend.
All righty. Now, what about some hot garbage?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. This is kind of an easy one. Just keep it real simple because of how bad this offensive line is, and because we apparently have a coach who is inept when it comes to getting guidance and helping the team find his identity on their offense. I'm going to give hot garbage to Ryan Poles. Ryan, I've appreciated everything he's done, and I think he's done some good moves. But to get this franchise quarterback, this generational quarterback, not put a head coach that can develop him, and to not protect this guy that is going to be your starter, that's just a major oversight that now we're starting to see reveal its ugly head. And for that, and again, being an ex-offensive lineman, and even though you didn't play in the NFL, as I found out from Mr. Fruit, you still should know that has to be the foundation of your offense if you want your quarterback to have some success. So this week's hot garbage, just for this week, Mr. Ryan Poles.
So not the 36 and 120 White Sox, huh?
You know what? They're so bad. I don't even want to talk about them. I wouldn't have even mentioned them during the show, to be perfectly honest. So, but there's always they haven't quite become the worst team yet. That should happen tonight if they lose.
That could happen tonight. That would happen tonight if they lose. Yes.
So maybe we'll talk about them next time.
So just to put since we're on the hot garbage concept here, just to put the White Sox in perspective. The White Sox, in order to not have the worst winning percentage in baseball history for a season, they have to go 3-3. If they go 2-4, it will be the worst winning percentage of any team in the history of Major League Baseball. Crazy. Think about that for a second. 3 years ago, they were in the playoffs and had won 93 games. And now, just 3 short years, they have lost 120 games out of 156, which that's just crazy.
It is.
And they don't have the talent to win 3 games, my friend. That's a really shameful statement. 3 out of 6, right?
Well, okay, they have a shot, and here's how they have a shot. The Anaheim Angels are bad. They're not Sox bad, but they're bad. So I could see now. Yeah, is it a lot to do a 3-game sweep against anyone for them? Yeah, that's kind of tough because the Detroit Tigers, who have the manager that the Sox originally wanted before they actually chose Tony La Russa, they're in the playoffs right now, and they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot. And those last 3 games are in Detroit. So I would suspect that they are going to put the pedal to the metal to the White Sox. So I don't see them having a shot in those 3 games. But baseball's baseball. It could happen. It could happen. All right. So nevertheless, the rising star for the week. Yes. So it happened last night. Happened last night in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it was Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels last night participated in the game for the first time in the Super Bowl era that no one punted or turned the ball over in a game. That's pretty amazing. So Jayden Daniels last night set the rookie record for completion percentage in a game. He was 22 of 23 for 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. also had 39 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown. He completed over 91% of his passes, which no rookie has ever done. So Jayden Daniels, who is the second pick of this draft, now has his Washington Commanders, who will play the Bears in week 8 or 9, if I'm not mistaken. They are 2-1 now. He is your rising star.
Good choice. Good choice.
Good choice. Okay, so I got a question for Ultimate and Grapefruit. Seeing how good this guy is playing, and a lot of people actually picked him to be the number 1 pick, should the Bears have given up the number 1 pick for all the bounty they would have got for that, just so maybe they could have picked number 2 and taken Jayden Daniels? Would that have been a wise decision?
I think that Jayden Daniels looks like a great talent, but his skill set, to me, everybody's trying to emulate or get a Patrick Mahomes. I think Caleb Williams' skill set is closer to what Mahomes can do than what Jayden Daniels does. So I think he's a little more unique in kind of what he has the potential to do. And I think Daniels is great, but it's more of a kind of what I've seen before. So go ahead, Fruit.
Well, he's more like Lamar Jackson, right?
Yeah, right. And I think Caleb is obviously not Mahomes, but what he kind of does and improvises is closer to what kind of Mahomes looks like, is what I'm saying.
Right. And now let's see how far a running quarterback can go, how long that lasts. Now, I mean, Lamar Jackson has put some skins on the wall. Now, it hasn't really turned out all that well in the playoffs to a point, but I mean, 2 MVPs, it's still 2 MVPs. Nevertheless, yes and no, because here's the thing. With this offensive line, I don't know if Jesus the Christ could throw or get this offense going with this offensive line. I'm sorry. I don't think the disciples would have been able to get this thing going with Jesus Christ chucking the pill. I just don't see it. So no, unless they would have got some offensive line talent with those picks this year, maybe, but I don't think so. I think if you put him in this current situation, I think the Bears are still 1-2.
I agree. So what was your take, Money? Do you regret not taking Daniels, or are you
No,
happy
I would have taken Caleb. I think it's just interesting because of the bounty they would have gotten for giving up the first. If you got the second pick, because Washington would have done pretty much anything to get Caleb, that you'll get the second pick. You're still going to get a quality quarterback, but you are probably going to get a mint of first-round picks from this team. I just think it may have been a little tempting, and you might not have had too much of a drop-off going from Caleb to Jayden. So I just think it was an interesting thought, especially now seeing how well he's playing. So, but I still would have gone Caleb.
And again, it is very early, and just remember, Peyton Manning, his rookie season, threw 28 interceptions. It's a lot of interceptions, right? So, but that's still Peyton bleeping Manning. So people just have to calm down. Yeah, I know he had a lot of hype. And yeah, it hasn't looked great, but it's looked better ever since week 1. So give it time. Chicago's used to bad quarterback play. We get that, but just give it time. Just give it time. Because like I said, I don't think Chicago's had a talent at quarterback like this.
Yeah. And I don't think really anybody is blaming Caleb for what's happening on the offense. I haven't heard too much of that on talk radio, on television. People are seeing the improvement week to week, and we're giving him some slack, grace period, because he's got to learn. It's more so been the ineptitude of the offensive coordinator, the head coach, and the atrocious offensive line. That's what's getting the beating on radio and by most people. But I don't think Caleb is really getting much of the beating because he passes the eye test. I mean, you watch him throw the ball, it just looks different. Like Ultimate said, he's about as close to a Mahomes that we're probably going to see, at least for the foreseeable future. But he has a huge upside once he's up and running. He's the type of guy that once the rest of your team is rolling, he can lead you probably to a Super Bowl. You know, we've never seen how he really performs in the playoffs except for one bowl game, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's a little bit different in the NFL, but he's got the talent to get him there. You know, all the rest will develop over time.
The other thing in regards to that is in that bowl game, his team scored 47 points and lost. So he's playing with a much better defense right now. But the thing about the Caleb stuff, yeah, you don't see it much on talk radio or sports talk radio and things like that. But man, Facebook has a lot of geniuses, obviously.
Those
But
are the JF2 fans. I mean, I'm a JF2 fan, but I'm realistic though. I have eyes. If Justin Fields was on the Bears right now, it would look like it does with Caleb. Maybe he completes a few more passes and he's a little bit more accurate.
Well, he would have ran the ball more.
That's the thing. He had to.
Yeah. He would have ran the ball. And the one thing about Caleb that I think that you can't appreciate, that guy is elusive. It is I mean, yeah, he's been sacked a lot, but I mean, there's some situations where he's gotten out of sacks. And the one thing that I prefer him over JF2 is because he continues to look down the field even though he's running. He wants to pass the ball.
It's not paying off now, but it will when the time matters. That mentality that you still want to make a play down the field as opposed to tucking it and run, that's going to matter when it matters. Like in playoff type situations, that's gonna be it.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. No, he's a talent. I mean, I can see that. And, you know, you look past the mistakes, he'll be good. We'll be good. Yep. So, all right, Spicy, what you got, girl?
All right. Doing too much. This one goes out to my fiance.
Uh-oh.
You know, 3 weeks, he said, I'm going to bet against the Vikings. And 3 weeks, he's lost money. And I told him this past week, I said, look, just bet on the Vikings. He said, no, they're playing the Texans, CJ Stroud, blah, 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 blah. And look where we at. He lost money again, the 3rd week in a row. And so any Viking haters out there, I mean, look, they're good. They're doing well. You can't bet against them. I'm about to get me a jersey, about to get me a new hat. My dog is getting jerseys, and we're a Vikings household from this day moving forward. And that's really all that I have to say. I've been a fan, and I'm always going to be a fan.
Yeah, you can let your dog eat that Cowboys hat if you want to.
Yeah, because we them boys, they not them boys. So if D Money is D Money, then your fiance is C No Money. That's who he is.
It was a rough game, and instead he decided, instead of betting on the Vikings, he decided that he was gonna go, which fine. He went to go see he went to the Cowboys game and left early because why? They were losing.
Yeah. Well, I think he went to see Lamar Jackson more so than the Cowboys.
He did.
Yeah.
Who does Minnesota play next week?
The Packers, my friend.
Really?
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Where that's the question.
I don't know. The team on the bottom, is it that the home team or the away team?
That's usually the home team.
So they're playing in Green Bay.
Okay. All right. Well,
it's at Minnesota.
Oh, it's at Minnesota?
No, I was looking at the wrong game. It's at
Green Bay. So yeah, that's going to be a very interesting game. We'll see if they have more Malik Willis magic in them, or if Jordan Love comes back.
Jordan Love, he's getting close.
I don't know. at this point, I'm just not until they lose a game. I'm just gonna say I'm not betting against them.
I also have a doing too much as well. And this, unfortunately, this comes from the entertainment / political realm.
Don't do it to her. Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
Do
sorry.
not do
yeah,
it
I'm
to
you gotta
sorry.
her.
do it.
I'm
You gotta
sorry.
do it to
Yeah,
her.
we're gonna have to do it. Janet, what are you doing? What are you doing, Janet? D.L. Hughley said it best.
Oh.
D.L. Hughley said, and I quote, "It is pretty rich that someone like Janet, who is trying to breathe out of a white woman's nose, talking about someone who is not black."
100%.
Yes.
100%. I don't think it's the exact same thing.
So it's Janet, come on. Here's what so the rumor is that the publicist sent out a retraction of that, saying, okay, we all know that Kamala Harris is black, this, that, and the other, so forth and so on. And then I guess they spoke to Randy Jackson, who was Janet Jackson's manager, is apparently a staunch Trump supporter, and said, no, we did not say that. And then they fired the publicist. So I don't know. The Jacksons, for the most part, have been very non-political. I think Michael did some stuff for Bill Clinton at one point, but that's really the only, because Jehovah's Witnesses generally don't vote. So they've been very apolitical. However, I don't know what Janet is doing here. If she says she didn't know, then shut up. Don't say anything.
Just shut up.
Don't say not a word. That's all you had to do. And now, if she wants to lose black people in her corner, especially after Nipplegate, after they stood by her by Nipplegate, then go right ahead. Keep doing that.
She already lost me. Because the reason she lost me is not because she said she didn't know, and that's what she heard. And where do you hear that kind of information? You don't hear it on reputable sites and certain media outlets. You only hear it on the crap like Fox News, places you shouldn't be listening to anyway. That means that's where she's going for her source of information. So that's telling you who she is, if that's what she heard. So I've kind of already written her off and like, okay, I didn't know. My bad for all these years believing something different.
Yeah.
But kind of go out like, that's it's unacceptable to me.
Like a sucker. Yeah, she went sucker. She went to a Trump rally, apparently. That's where that came from.
Exactly. Had to.
Just a sucker. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Never take sides politically if you don't think it's going to help your career.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Trump has two: Kid Rock and Janet Jackson.
And Hulk Hogan. Yeah,
she didn't support him though, right?
No, she didn't support him, but I mean, but she made a really, 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 really dumb statement.
That tells you where your mind is, though. Just saying something like that, it already tells you where your mind is, which she, in fact, is supporting him just by even throwing that out there.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Beyonce need to talk to her.
Exactly. Set her straight. Talking about, I heard she wasn't. I mean, what?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, honestly. It's just
Trump, because that's what Trump says. He's the one that says that.
Which means that's who she's listening to. That's my point. That if she heard it, because she's hearing it from the places she goes to for her news and information, which is the conspiracy theory places, the super MAGA type sites. So it's obvious.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Oh well.
It's unfortunate. Do y'all have anything else y'all want to bring up? I don't know. There's a lot.
Bears victory on Sunday.
Bears.
I'd like to talk about not too deeply, but we're going to see a whole lot of people going down real soon because of this Puffy situation. You have CEOs who are stepping down because of his arrest. That's like, who is going to really, some heads are going to roll. And Suge Knight gave P. Diddy some advice. When Suge is giving you advice on prison life, and how your life is at risk because of what you know, things are not good. Things are not
Yeah.
good. So this is about to get pretty ugly for this guy. I don't feel sorry for him after I
No.
saw the video with what he did to Cassie,
Yeah. Huh.
but it's about to be his life is basically, I won't say over, but it's gonna, he's headed down the R. Kelly road, that's for sure.
Well, his you can put bend in front of that over. So if the he 1,000 bottles of baby oil found in the place. Now, I've heard of a lot of stuff being found there. The one thing that I haven't heard being found there was condoms. I'm just saying. That's the one thing that we didn't hear, that they found 1,000 condoms. No, they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant and all this
A
other
lot of
stuff.
dildos apparently too.
And a lot, yes, and apparently he, well, okay, I won't go into that, but I mean, apparently, Puffy liked him some dildos, I guess. I guess that's how I can really say it as politely as I possibly can. So yeah, dude, he is going under the jail. I don't think he's going to see the light of day, because here's the thing. It's one thing for a local prosecutor, say like a county prosecutor. When the feds got stuff on you, it's, for the most part, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? They don't really bring cases to lose.
Even more so if it's a high profile case, because they know the spotlight's going to be on, microscope. They're not going to charge someone thinking they're going to lose it, and they don't have sufficient evidence.
Right.
So yeah. I agree with Fruit that if it was, charges were brought and they know it's so high profile, everybody's going to be looking at it. Yeah, I personally think it's a wrap.
Yep. Yeah, I think so, because that they don't bring charges against high profile people unless they got the goods on them, and I think they got the goods on them, and other people are now starting to speak on this case as well. So it's more arrests are coming. I agree. I also think that's the case as well. I think more arrests are coming for this particular case. It's just going to be interesting to see who else is going to be in this mix. I am very interested to see it. I'm sure his sons are probably in a little bit of trouble too. So,
yeah, and Aldi has been very vocal. He's been vocal for a long time, but he's been vocal the last couple of days. And Usher.
Has Usher been vocal, or is Usher in trouble?
He has not been vocal, but there are just things that I can't, who knows if it's true, but there's talks of him bringing Justin Bieber, who was 14, 15 at the time, getting him involved with Diddy. And so now they're saying Justin Bieber is a victim by and he was bought into that lifestyle by Usher, who knew what was going on. There's a lot of videos of that, and then his Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, he deleted everything, and so people were calling him out. He said, no, I didn't delete anything. I was hacked. The Kardashians.
Well, yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how many people go down or have went down in regards to this thing, because
apparently a lot of people went down.
yeah, that's the thing. Dude, this is going to be one of the most scandalous things. Here's one part of the story that I'm sure that you all heard, was that these freak offs happened in multiple days, that when they were over, before they sent people home, they had to give them IVs.
Well, yeah, they were drugged, and
they had to give them IVs so they can replenish the water and the fluids that they lost during these things.
It was that
yes.
Wild, huh? Wow.
Yes. That wild, that they had to give them our IVs. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was listening to something today, and they said Cat Williams told us. And he did. Cat Williams said a lot of people are going to be exposed, and here we are. So
Prophet Cat.
And what did he say? He said you have to say no to Diddy. So, I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting story. But the only people I feel sorry for, obviously, are the victims and his daughters. Those are the only people I feel sorry for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think Kim Porter is resting well now, though. Just
well,
saying.
Speaking of
and
Kim
they're saying that
Porter,
that's
isn't that what Al B.
multiple.
Shura is saying, that he's maybe saying her death was not an
An accident?
accident
Yeah.
or
Well,
natural causes or whatever the case?
Mm-hmm.
listen, I got a little bit too deep in the weeds, and then that's all I'm gonna say, that we can be done, because I don't even know. But he keeps calling it a murder investigation, and the people are saying that originally, which I vaguely remember, but like not really. But at first they said it was she went into cardiac arrest, then something about a medical examiner. It was one time they said it was cardiac arrest. Another person said it was pneumonia. Someone else said she had the flu. And then whoever did the autopsy, they changed it and said like it was like natural causes of the flu or under something. He died a week later, and they're saying, did he put a hit out on him?
Really? So don't be surprised if they have to, what do they call it, exhume her body
Yeah.
and do another toxicology test to see if there's maybe something that was in her blood
Yeah, there's
stream that killed her, some
some.
drug. So it again, this thing is going to get really, really deep, and there's going to be some more people going down. So just
He
kind of,
also may have arson charges against him too.
For blowing up somebody's car.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, now the IV stuff was actually in the criminal docket. That's actually in the feds charging. Yeah. Yeah. That's in the indictment.
So we'll see what happens. It's a lot. I do want to say one more thing, and this is totally unrelated. Going back to Minnesota, it's Minnesota's time, and I hope that the Lynx win. And that's all I gotta say. WNB.
Wow.
oh yeah,
Wow.
we'll let
I
you
just
root
want
for
to
them
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
since the sky is out of it.
Yeah, I would have rooted for them, but gotta stay true to my Minnesota people. And I was done with Diddy and all that stuff. So anything else before we go, before we head out?
I think we've hit on a lot of topics this
We
week.
did, and Shannon Sharp, you did it on purpose. I'm just
Oh
gonna say
yeah,
that was
sure
no
did.
accident.
Sure did.
That's I don't even know how to get on Instagram Live, but it's not an easy process. It's not an accidental thing
Don't
that
hit a button and all
happens.
that.
So
His ass hit a button. What?
apparently more than once.
Yeah,
He was hungry though. Yes, it happened.
he's a strange dude, I'll say that.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we will be back for some more sports later on. Hopefully, we can be a little bit more positive about the Bears and
The Bears will be 2-0 in 2 weeks. Carolina and the Rams at home. 2-0.
Or 2-3.
I'm with you. I'm gonna be positive as well.
I'm not, so I'm gonna be a hater. And that's all I got.
Wait, let me. I got one more point about the Bears. They got the Rams, Carolina, and Jacksonville all in a row. They can run off
2 out of 3. I give them 2 out of 3.
They can
Yeah, I'd say 2 out of 3.
They can run some victories off of that.
Yeah, Jacksonville looked bad too, though. My God.
Yeah. Speaking of an overpaid quarterback, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that is not.
Kudos to
not
him
good.
for robbing his team blind.
Yeah.
Listen, 47-10 is crazy. That's all I got to say. I was just in disbelief. I was so bored.
Yeah.
All righty. We will be back. Hopefully some things change. Not for my Vikings though. But yeah.